I am Baiki Venki and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest, Ronny Schrijvers, is a cyclist and a triathlete from the land of Eddy Merckx, Belgium. I had the good fortune of riding and racing with him in a few cycling races when he was working and living in Bangalore from 2013 to 2016. He is a very friendly and helpful athlete who guided and helped many Indian athletes who visited Europe for cycling or triathlon events. In this episode, I talked to Ronny about his experience in India and the part it played in his endurance journey. We talked at length about how sport brings cultures and people together like nothing else does. I love his attitude of enjoying every race, whatever may be the result. He is a very fast triathlete with a timing of 4 hours 33 minutes for a 70.3 triathlon. This was a fun conversation going down the memory lane. I really had fun. I hope you will enjoy it too. With that, let us get into my conversation with Ronny. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Ronny. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much, Venki. It's a pleasure to be in a call back with you and to talk with you after such a long time. So it's really an honor that you invited me for this podcast.
No, it is my honor as well to have you. The first time I saw you was back in 2016, I think, when you were at one of the bar races.
It's
Uh,
already 2013. So
2000,
it was in 2013. I lived in India, in Bangalore, from 2013 till 2016. And I think pretty short after my arrival, I did participate in my first individual time trial, one of the bar races at the famous on the famous Hoscote Road.
correct. Uh, because that was 2013 was the year when we started bar races actually. So you participated in the first year of its existence itself. So let us start by talking about uh, what is work for you, Ronnie.
Oh, okay. It's good that you start by asking that question. So, work, of course, is something, I mean, and that's in the Belgium genes in people. We think we have to do like working 8 hours a day or even more, be very disciplined. And work is, I mean, most important thing to have in life. However, that is quite changing with the younger generation. But in my genes is still pre-programmed to that's important to have a job and that you can grow in life through your work. So I have full admiration for people who can put that idea a little bit aside and enjoy their life to the fully max.
Coming to sport, what was your relationship with sport growing up?
That's an excellent question as well. So as a kid, I'm born in a small town in Belgium, where we live with, I think, less than 10,000 people. So it's not that big. It's not comparable to Bangalore or whatever. Even not comparable with a small village in India. I think even there you will have like more than 10,000 people living. But I'm born in a very small town where at my very young age, football was the sports to do as a kid. So around the age of 8, I started playing football in a local team and did play that for many years. However, I also have to add to that as a kid, I mean, cycling was also popular in Belgium because it was. I mean, I'm born in '69, and by the early '70s, we had Eddy Merckx as being the famous and the most well-known popular cycling guy. I think it's still the most famous one in the world. We had Eddy Merckx on racing Tour de France and so on. And I remember my grandfather was laughing with me when I used to do a tour here around the block. I can say it was like a 1 to 2 kilometer round. And he used to sit with a big clock on the table, make the timings of the loop. And when he used to shout when I started, "Go, Eddie, go, Eddie." I mean, that was, yeah, it was in fact my first encounter with the world of cycling. And I think, I mean, it also inspired me later on to continue cycling as well. However, the major sports in my youth years was playing football.
Oh, okay. So the legs must be quite strong from football, I would imagine.
I don't know that one, but maybe it helps. Yeah, I have also, I know also a lot of football players who started playing football and then went into cycling later on because I mean at a certain age it's difficult to play football. Also, you get injured, but with cycling, I mean you can continue till 40, 50, maybe longer. I don't know. I'll tell you in 10 years. But yeah, you can. And what's in fact funny about cycling is that you can also get stronger even if you are growing, I mean, getting older. So I still, I mean, I don't know if I have reached my peak, but I can say like 2, 3 years ago, I was doing the Ironman in Turkey, where I was able to clock a time on the 90K time trial part uh, of an average of 40 kilometers an hour, which I think is quite
Quite
okay.
impressive. Quite
Yeah,
impressive.
it was faster than any time trial I did in India.
Okay. Okay. So, coming to that is a nice segue to talk about triathlon, right? Oh, how did your triathlon journey start? How did you get into triathlon? Because you said you have always been, into football as a kid growing up. So, how did, cycling and triathlon come into the picture?
Oh, it came already very fast in the picture. I mean, at my younger years, so I think the big triathlon in Belgium came in the early '90s when we had Luc van Lierde, who is also born in '69. That's just for the picture. Um, did win the race in Kona, became the world champion. I think that was for me also an inspiration to start doing triathlon or following triathlon. And I think I did my first race back in '98, '99. That was through a friend of mine who was married with a girl from Oostmalle. And they do organize every year what they call the Mini Malle Triathlon. Mini Malle Triathlon is a race where they swim like 300 meters, bike 20K, and have a nice run of 4K. So it's a very short distance. It's even shorter than a sprint, I can say. But that was the first race I did, and it was so lovely that I decided to continue doing the triathlon. Like typical in Belgium, when you have such an event, the beer and the party is also never far away, and that helps also inspiring others to probably continue and have participating in that race. So maybe I just tell for the small picture. My son Luca, he
Mm-hmm.
finished third this year in that race. And everybody who gets on the podium, they get an applause, but they also get a beer, a Westmalle, and they have to drink it at Fundum. So, I mean, you can imagine that that is kind of a
Nice tradition.
event. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly.
Very,
So
very
he succeeded in what I never succeeded, being on the podium of that race. But that was my first triathlon, and this is, in fact, how it started for me.
excellent. Excellent. So once you when was this? How old were you when you started that
So it was
participating?
around 30 years old. It's also
Okay.
the age where I did start to cycle more than ever before. Before, I mean, I think the reason of not cycling that much was because I played football.
Hmm.
Uh, but at that age, it's also somebody of the football team I played with, Hugo Frooyen, also a friend of mine, who was also riding in a local team. So the
Hmm.
Sunday morning rides, which are also quite typical in Belgium. So he invited me to join his group of riders. And from that point onwards, I did start like riding every Sunday morning.
Hmm.
I also remember the first ride I did with the group was like 90K. And I think after 60K, I was so
So out
that
of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that they had to push me to the cafe to get back home. But of course, I mean, you learn and you experience more, and they give you tips on how to train, and that helps, of course, to be able to join to join like at that those days every Sunday morning.
Nice, nice. So once you got interested in triathlon at the age of 30, how did the triathlon journey progress from there for you?
That was quite a bumpy road in the sense that I was playing football and I had quite a lot of injuries, back injuries, hamstring injuries. So running was okay, but every now and then I did get injured, which withhold me from running. So I was, in fact, more into cycling from 2000 onwards till 2013. So I did a lot of cycling vacations. Did the races around the Three Balloons Classic, which is a race in the Vosges in France in France. I did also two times the big race with the Mont du Galibier, Alpe d'Huez, which finishes on Alpe La Marmothe. They call it La Marmothe. Now I come back on the name. So I did that also twice. Um, so I was more into cycling than I was into triathlon at that time point. Now, I did from time to time a triathlon, like the short race. I mostly did every year. I
Mhm.
also did a few times the race in Aarschot, which is a 2K swim, 60K on the bike, and a 15K running. So I did that, but only in 2013 when somebody helped me to get rid of that hamstring injury. I started to do much more triathlon, and I also started to take more care of the stretching and injury prevention rather than just running and doing the sports that I did love to do. So that helped me quite a lot. And from 2030 onwards, I did quite a lot of races. First of all, in Belgium, a few, but then also in India, like the Goa race. I think I was there on the second edition and the third edition of that race. I
Mhm.
did the Tournure race two times, I believe, and then did some international races like the race in Da Nang, Vietnam, and Thailand. I did a race, And then coming back to Belgium, I even started to do more races. I mean, in
Hmm.
Belgium, you have a lot of local races which you can do, short ones, longer ones. Mostly, I prefer to do the shorter ones, so the Olympic distance and half Ironmans, so
Okay.
70 degrees.
Right. So before we, double click in and go into your time in India,
Yeah,
let us touch upon that injury prevention aspect. Right. You said your participation in triathlon and specifically running was a difficult thing. So you were able to participate in triathlons only after you were able to sort out that injuries. So what were
yeah.
the things that helped you in getting rid of that injury, and what were the routines that helped you actively prevent that from coming back?
So when we were young, and I mean, still some friends of mine, we joke with that. When you saw how we trained as football players, I mean, there was totally no injury prevention. It was like, yeah, doing a little bit of stretching, doing a little bit of, I mean, but not really like core exercises, not also, doing good exercises for the bibs. I mean, it was so weak on my body that, I mean, injury was inevitable. I mean, was not
Inevitable. Yeah.
inevitable. It's what I wanted to say.
Mm.
Uh, it's only when a friend of mine started to take care of the hamstrings, because that was the place where I did get the most of the injuries, and that can be, I mean, for everybody somewhere else, but that was the place where I did get my most injuries. He sorted out to, massage that, out. He also put me on a lot of core exercises. So also, stabilizing exercise, one leg exercises, and with that kind of stuff, my core did get stronger. And of course, based on that, also changing my running style. I was used to put my legs in front of my body. Well, it's better to keep your legs under your body. I mean, I cannot, it's difficult to, but I
Right.
think that if a runner is listening, he will understand exactly what I mean. So,
Right.
adapting your running style, also making small steps instead of the longer steps, did
Mhm.
help me quite a lot on getting back to, healthy running and running without any issues. So,
Excellent. So when you mentioned about injury, the getting rid of that hamstring problem, you made a gesture with your arm saying, so it
yeah,
is basically relieving those knots and getting getting
exactly.
the
Yeah, yeah,
getting the elbow and the weight in, and massaging it out, I guess.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah,
you need someone who understands the physiology and knows how to identify the problem areas and take care of them, like
yeah,
a physio or
exactly.
someone. Yeah.
It was the physio who did that, and he told me up front before we started. So that was back in 2000, early 2013. He told me when we did start working on it. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna hurt you, and you are going to cry, and you have to promise me also one thing, that you not will stop after one treatment, but that you keep coming back for 4, 5, 6 treatments." And yeah, in fact, at one point when he was with his elbow into my hamstrings, like pouring like hell, and the hamstrings became also blue, and it was I literally bite into the massage table. And I excused myself to him, but it was so painful that, yeah, but it helped. So it got me out of that injury. I also have to tell you that when I was in India, I had the luck to meet up with Muthu, which is also physiotherapist who helped me, in fact, out doing the core exercises, who was open to give me like a treatment or opening his door like once a week. And also at that moment, you learn how to train on injury prevention rather than just doing your running and so on without taking care of the body. Now
Right.
I know. I mean, I have him here. Um, the foam wall is one of my big friends.
Yeah. So the prehab versus rehab, right?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is what we have to kind of focus on. You mentioned after he took care of the injury, the hamstring, he put you on a program to strengthen your core and help, prescribed single leg drills and single leg exercises to basically iron out the imbalances and improve the core, because it is probably the imbalances and the weak core that resulted in the downstream effect, and the hamstring injuries, right? And it can be, in your case it was a hamstring injury, but it can be anything else for that matter for a lot of others. So
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. I mean, your big muscle on the back of your body that can be. It's your the glutes. It's I mean, the muscles where you do on your stomach. Yeah, I
yeah.
think those exercises are key to be done by any kind of athlete. But I have to say also that today I have the impression that much more attention is given also. I mean, people are much more aware of training that part of the body than ever before. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, again, when we were young, yeah,
Yeah.
it was almost not existing.
No. Do you remember
And
some of the core exercises or the exercises that were prescribed to you at that point of time, and something that you still follow?
it's the typical squats stuff,
Hmm.
wide squats and short squat. It's also the single leg squat exercises, and then also the exercises where you stand on one leg and then make like every kind of turns with your other leg. I mean, brushing your teeth on one leg is typically something that cyclists and triathletes do to strengthen their core. I mean, you also have the exercises like plank, and so they all, I mean, and all variations on them. So single leg plank, also the exercises where you pay attention for the hamstrings with the bridges and on one leg again, moving that up. So that I think if you are a starting or a advanced athlete, any everybody needs to put some time in bringing I mean focusing on those core exercises. I think it's
True.
super needed, I mean, to prevent yourself from injuries, and then also, I mean, you will get stronger anyway by doing that kind of exercises. I think you will get stronger by doing those exercises than just running another 5K.
Definitely makes sense. So now coming to your time in India, right? You mentioned that you I know as soon as you came in, you were able to kind of find the races and directly came and joined. I think immediately came and joined those races, like the bar races and the BBCH races. But your focus was more into triathlon. Getting into triathlon at that point of time, right? So tell us about that journey in your time here in India. How was it?
So, before coming to India, I did some research. And for Bangalore, I have to say I did find some mountain bike stuff, but then I also find the bar races. And I know that I was telling to Linda, my wife, that yeah, I was certainly going to participate in those races. I mean, when I said to people in Belgium that I was going to take my road bike to India, they were all telling, "You are crazy." I mean, I mean, did you see the traffic there? And did you see that? And I said, no, no, I see that they do races there. So I'm fully full of trust that that will be fine. And yeah, and this is in fact the way that I did, I mean, go to that first bar race in Bangalore. And I mean, one of the funny things about that bar race is, of course, I mean, you as a nobody knows you and you know nobody. You arrive at the place, you see the cyclist. Hello, hello. I'm quite a shy boy, I can say. However, people might disagree, but I mean, I'm from a character pretty introvert. Uh, I had the luck to meet people like Vivek Ratna Krishna,
Yeah.
who
Vivek
was
Radhakrishnan.
yeah, who told me, where are you from? I said, yeah, I'm from Belgium. Dan spreek jij Nederlands. And he talked to me in Dutch. I was like, huh? Huh? Somebody I don't know. And then, but apparently he lived in the Netherlands. So that was already breaking the ice. And I have to say that Vivek was, just like you, because you were there as well, and you were, of course, the organizer of the races, together with I forgot the name,
Ven-
Mr.
Venkatachalam and Hari Menon were helping at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I do remember that, and yeah, that was it was a quite. I mean, really a pleasure to be welcomed in such a group of people outside of work. I mean, with having a shared hobby. I mean, the shared passion for cycling. I mean, you made me feel like a little bit at home while being in Bangalore. So I have to be very grateful for that and for that first race. Now, what helped, and this I think you understand as well. I mean, it's not the first time that I was living outside of Belgium. Back in 2001, I moved to Atlanta in the US, and also there and there, I mean, I think our, my introvert character, I did take my bike with me, but I was in fact too shy to come out, and I waited a little bit long to join their cycling club. But at the end, I mean, when I joined, I had the biggest pleasure of being in that cycling team and with that cycling group. So it was really a pleasure to ride with them on the roads in the US. And of course, it helped me to discover a little bit of the US as well, and also of the cycling world in the US, which is totally different to Belgium. They don't think beers after going on a cycling trip, but they eat pizza. And in India, of course, we drink a coffee on the on the base of Nandi Hills, which is also super nice to do. So, and in Belgium, yeah, I
Yeah,
drink coffee as well, but people drink more beers than coffee.
yeah, slightly, different rituals at different places, but the camaraderie is almost the same.
That's the same. That's everywhere the same. And the fact that you meet up with the same people at a quite regular time point, that makes it, of course, super nice. And of course, I mean, it's also what I did like the most in India is that I mean the Saturday and the Sunday mornings, people used to gather pretty early. I mean, and even I mean like Enaut and myself, we were obviously often too late. We were not that early birds, but it was always good to meet the people at the base of Nandi Hills. So we were arriving always a little bit later than the rest. But climbing the mountain, I mean, still before traffic started, that was, I mean, it was super to do. So from that point of view, I mean, I really enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Enaut and your time here Enaut's time here and your time here kind of coincided, and we had the good fortune of having you both, take part in a few races in at BBCH and Bar, and we could clearly see the difference in the approach of your and Enaut's racing style, right? That was very different from a little bit more conservative and approach that we had. You guys were attacking, right from the get go, and I think a couple of races, both of you were like off to the front, and it was really great to see a different
Yeah,
approach to racing.
yeah, exactly. I do remember one of those races. It was a 100K race, I think on the old airport road, I
Yes,
believe. And
airport road. Yeah,
and Enoch and myself, I think we took off. I mean, from the beginning of the race, it was not that far in the race, and you guys were a little bit like surprised. And we managed, I think, to stay away till the turnaround. So it was
right,
like a 50K turn point. And then it was slightly uphill. And I do remember that Naveen John and Naveen Raj, they were able to catch us. We stayed a little bit with them, but then, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was, of course, so stupid to try to help in the front as well, but with these young guys, because they are 20 years younger than I am. With these young guys, it was impossible to keep up. So Enaut, I think Enaut finished with them, but I, of course, luckily being a little bit older, I could win at that time that 100K race, which is still I mean, a beautiful memory from India. So yeah, that was it was pretty nice to do that race, and it was nice also to race with Enaut, who had a similar mentality than as myself. But you have seen the Tour de France this year as well. I mean, they start riding from the first kilometer, huh?
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't
This
wait.
this was one of the craziest and most interesting Tour de France's I have ever seen. I haven't seen the race this aggressive for so many days.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was quite interesting. I think the uh, race is itself is changing quite a bit. Uh,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
racing style and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also, I mean, and that is also something which you see typically in the races in Belgium. I mean, they try to encourage the kids or the young riders to go for it because that is also the only way that makes you stronger. I mean, if you race in a defense style, I mean, yeah, sitting in the wheel will not make you stronger. You have to try. You have to push your body, and only at that moment, of course, when you are talking about winning a race in the Tour de France, I mean, the energy level consumption and so on that plays a role, but not when you are like, I mean, racing for fun. I mean, there the goal is to push your body to get stronger and to because otherwise they will just drop you at a certain time point.
Definitely, definitely. So coming to your triathlon here, right? You mentioned about Tonur triathlon and the Goa triathlon here for conducted by Enduro Sports and stuff like that, right? So how was your experience of the triathlons, here versus what you experienced back home? Also, for that matter, also the road races that were here versus back home?
Maybe starting with the road races.
Yeah,
A big difference between road races here in Belgium, India, and then I also talk a little bit about US. So if I was doing the road, I mean, if you talk about doing road races in Belgium, which I didn't do that much, I think I only did two, because the level here is, yeah, if you don't
crazy.
ride like 45 kilometers an hour, then you're simply dropped. Eh? So here the races are taking part without traffic, so they can close at least partly the roads for traffic. And they also have a lot of people who are volunteers to guide, I mean, to ensure that there are no cars on the road. Of course, in India, you are working now. I see there is also an evolution in India. If I see the races now, I mean, you have much more volunteers, people on bikes who take away and ensuring that there is not too much traffic upcoming during those races. Now, I have to say, I've never felt really unsecure or unsafe while doing the races in India. But of course, you are aware of the dangers because, and this is something I also joke sometimes with when I talk to people. You see, when somebody passes you with a motorbike or with a car in India, you know that they can turn straight in front of you. You know that that can happen. In Belgium, you are not expecting that. But if that happens in Belgium, then you have really bad luck.
Yeah,
You understand the difference, eh? Uh, but I mean that's one big difference that the roads are free of traffic, which is in India obviously not the case. And I was alluding to the US. I mean, in the US it's the same. I did once a duathlon race over there, and also the cars there they were simply on the road, and they tell you also in front of the race. I mean, you have to take care of yourself because there will be free traffic anywhere. I think the bigger races, like Ironman races, the roads will be closed for traffic, but it's a completely different story.
yeah.
On
So,
the organizations, I mean, if I talk about the triathlons and look to
mm,
the triathlon organizations, then uh, I think I did the second edition of the Goa one, where I do remember that they had bamboo trees to put
mhm,
on the bikes. I mean, you came out of the sea and then you had to take your bike from. But I remember we were hanging the bikes, and I think Vivek was also there, and Tim Sharma was there. I mean, some other people from Bangalore as well. And were putting our bicycles on those bamboo trees. But of course, you can imagine. I mean, first it is straight, but then the bikes go on there, and the bamboo please like that, all
it
the bikes
sags
they
and
came together.
all the
So
bugs. Yeah,
yeah, so it was quite surprising to see at that second edition. But then the third edition, I mean, they had already iron bars. I mean, it was very well organized. It was quite impressive, and also seeing that race, I mean, evolving to a Ironman race. I think. I mean, seeing the posters on internet and seeing the announcements for the Goa Triathlon, I mean, it makes me really, really happy
yeah,
because there you see the evolution of the sports inside a country, and it's also thanks to I think in Tunur and in Goa, I think Elias Patel and people like Pablo, they did contribute so much to that race. There was also, I think, somebody of Bangalore, a friend of Sujay, who also helped them to go to Ironman. So I think that is super impressive, and also I think super important for the sport in the country as well. Because yeah.
definitely. Yeah, so it is growing. It is a growing market for triathlon. From even from the time you were here to now, I think from when you were here, I think back in 2013 and 14, 15, 16. So at that time, you could identify most of the triathletes who were there, right?
Mhm.
So if now the numbers are so huge that you cannot really know everyone in the triathlon. So that is definitely a big change in terms of the numbers, the number of people who are taking part. Also, as a result, I think the number of people who are getting faster and faster, yeah,
Yeah,
at those
exactly.
triathlons is also improving.
Yeah, on that level, I think I had to look. First of all, I mean, I met Nagaraj quite fast on the races in India. I
Nagraj
think
Harsha.
he Nagaraj Harsha, and I mean, he was already. He's a fast runner. That we need to say. Swimming and cycling, it's of course good, but it's not
Yeah.
on the
Same
level.
level
If
of
you,
his running.
yeah, exactly. But then also Sujay, who did, I mean, Ironman in Copenhagen lastly, which he finished in 9 hours and 5 minutes. That's unbelievable. Where you have, I mean, previously a lot of people in India doing races to finish them. Now you have, in fact, people in races who are on a level of competing in the race. And I think that is definitely also an inspiration, again, for the younger generation to try to go and pursue such a dream as well. On that level, I mean, there is still a lot to come, I think, from India. I think also if you look to the cycling scene, like NG, I mean, with the what bombs coaching, Naveen Raj is also doing some work on that level. I, I, I love to see that on. And yeah, I mean, with NG, when they travel to Belgium, try to get in touch with him. Try to ask him, do you need help? Do you? Because I think it is quite important. I mean, on one side, that they are able to come to Belgium, but on the other side, I mean, that they are also promoting in the country of India the sports itself. I mean, the, I mean, what you are doing now as well, creating this podcast, I mean, is helping to make the sport more popular in the country and also to create some awareness of things that are possible to do, even if you live in India.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The I don't know the impact that I am making, but definitely the kind of work that people like Naveen John are doing is tremendous. Like the
Yeah,
kind of uh, I think the kind of mentality shift from just watching him race and watching him train and get stronger year on year, even now after like 12 years, is simply amazing, and it's a big inspiration for all the youngsters in the country. And we are really fortunate that he is able to guide the next generation and everyone around. Like you said, racing and taking a few youngsters every year to Belgium, and giving them the taste of racing in Europe and stuff like that is a super work that he's doing. It's really commendable, and glad you are able to help there as well, in whatever way you can. So it is actually when you go to a country, new country, where you don't know anyone versus where someone like you, is makes a huge difference to the confidence, and
it
so
helps. It
it will
definitely
definitely
helps.
help. Yeah.
I mean, back when the first year that we were back in Belgium, and I have to look again to find the right names because it's so far in my memory. We had Linda and I were married for 25 years, and at that time, Naveen Raj, NG, a lady, but I help.
Rutuja, maybe?
Rutuja, yeah, she was here, and there
Ar-
was also
Arvind Panwa?
and Arvind, I didn't think he was here. He was already back to Belgium. But there
Hmm.
was also a young guy here, and I don't think he's from Bangalore, but he
Hmm.
also moved to be a football coach later on. So they were all at the party. I mean, also with Sujay, and I mean, they did a race here in Zutendal, so in the village I live in, and then in the evening they came to the party. I mean, yeah, I mean, and being able to help people on that level and to support them. That's I mean, that's one of the nicest things you can do in life. It also gives you memories for life. Whether or not those people become great champions of or not, the fact that you can give a memory for life, that's the most important. I mean, I still remember also Nagaraj, Arsha, I mean, being here, sitting here. Also, Lokesh has been here. So that's, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that are memories that cannot be taken away from you. I mean, you have been to other countries as well and lived in other countries. I mean, the fact that people are welcoming you, talking to you, showing you the environment, that's a
Makes
memory.
a huge difference,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it is precisely because of the people that we meet and interact, that somewhere I was in the US back in 2009-10, and I still have friends from there that I rode with, that I ran with, and they were of tremendous help for me when I was there, in a new place, completely alien to me. But for that whole entire year, they were, very close, very supportive, and guided me with everything. I used to join them for rides and parties. I mean, I got like three, four send off parties, when I was coming back, and so that's the kind of love that we get from friends, and those are, like you said, memories for a lifetime. Okay,
That's memory for a lifetime. That's
like,
true. That's really true.
and
Yeah.
cycling, is cycling and triathlon sport in general gives you that kind of camaraderie. And when I was in Denmark as well, the friends that I met during TFN, the Niels and Christian and all these people were again there for me to take me through the club races there, and take me around and all that. It's really something else, the camaraderie that we get from the sport.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, I love, I mean, you have also some people, and I mean, I cannot count myself into to that level of engagement, but you also have people who really make their life based out of the sports. I mean, for instance, I have this, I mean, I have I mean, I was a teacher when I was uh, 22, 23. And one of the boys, I mean, he was a student, he was 16 years old at that moment. I mean, he made his life, he has never been a top athlete, but he made his life out of triathlon and Xterra races. And now he lives with his girlfriend in Sardinia. I mean, the fact that you can devote your life to sports and to pursue your dream, I think that is kind of wonderful. I also have this friend, and I think you know him as well, Jamie Anderson,
Yeah.
who runs at this moment a hotel, and
Flandrian hotel.
Flandrian Hotel. Who I mean, and they're also they do. I mean, invite people and international cyclists, and they help them to go for races. So from that level, I mean, I do really admire people who can devote their life to the full sports. Yeah, I and that is maybe also. I mean, the idea that you have to work and have to So I have the other part of life still with me as well. But I enjoyed that part as well. By the way, I also try to combine that. So when I was in India, and this is also, I was working for the pharmaceutical company, which is called UCB, and we had the office on the Central Road, MG Road,
Uh-huh.
G Road. So in the middle, where the train, where the station is. So on
Metro
MG Road,
station.
the metro station, we did organize a bicycle trip. So on the bicycles
Mm.
from MG Road to the military area close to the airport road. So we did. I mean, it was a huge undertaking to do that because, yeah, not
Yeah,
everybody in India is riding a bicycle, but I could at that moment. We were 130 people on the site, and I think we were with around 60 people who did take the bicycle. And with the bicycle, we went to. I mean, it was only like 25 kilometers, but anyway. I mean, the fact that you can encourage people to go on a bicycle trip, I think that's wonderful. So
it is. It is.
promoting the sports, even if you are not doing in a sports environment, is I think still something which we should do. So
Definitely. Yeah.
I,
Coming
I think
to
that picture is still on my LinkedIn anyway.
nice, nice, nice. Coming to your triathlon journey, right? What are your favorite events that you enjoy doing?
So my favorite one is that mini mullet triathlon. That's number one.
Mm.
So that I still probably can do till I'm 80 because it's not too long. But my favorite distance on Ironman, I mean on triathlon racing, is the half Ironman, so the 70.3. There is a specific reason for that one. Uh, I think that distance, 2K swimming, 90K on the bike, and half a marathon running, it doesn't, I mean, it does require you to pay attention to the pace and the nutrition that you take in, but it is not like, I guess, a full Ironman where you have to even take more. I mean, you have to be conscious very much on what food intake you do and so on. So I do like the cycling where you can go fast and I mean going to the limit and recover while you are racing. I do like from that perspective the half distance or the Olympic distance more than I do like, for instance, than I would like a full distance. I've never done a full distance yet. I have to convey as well. But I will be doing one in later this year in Hamburg in June 2023. So looking
Awesome.
forward to that one. It is in fact the fault. I mean, or my son who said, "Daddy, I'm going to do Hamburg. You better hurry to write in to subscribe to the race as well, because then we can do it together." So he told me the message, and okay, I decided in less than 5 minutes to join him for that race. So I'm looking forward to that one. Looking forward on one side to do once a full Ironman, but on the other side, I'm also a little bit afraid because I know that I have to temper my nature.
Pacing
Uh,
and
on the pacing level and also on the food level, food intake level. I was watching friends of mine doing the full Ironman here in Maastricht, not so far from here. But what you see is like, yeah, people do. I mean, it's devastating. Huh?
yeah.
I mean, a friend of mine who had just a few days before the race COVID, so he had to go to the doctor and to see whether or not he could race. Doctor said, "Okay, you can start, but take care." And then after 20K of running, I mean, he started feeling like so he had to start walking. He did
Mm.
finish the race, but I mean, I think it is
It is a
it's
different
heavy.
sport.
It's a
you know.
different sport, and it is playing with your body, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It is
But
definitely.
people like Sujay, for instance. I mean, and this is what you see also in the younger athletes. They know exactly what they can do. Eh? I mean,
Yeah.
it's to be really frightened of, but they know exactly how deep, how far, what space they can go. I mean, I have a big admiration for somebody like Sujay because, yeah, I met him the first time with Nagaraj when we were swimming in Tunur Lake, and him seeing him grow as an athlete, that's incredible. Huh? I
It
mean,
is remarkable.
yeah, it's remarkable. I remember we were swimming in Tunur Lake, and he could keep up with me in the swimming. Now I cannot follow him anymore with swimming. He swims
Yeah.
faster than I do. He cycles faster than I do. Yeah, and we don't talk about running because on that level he's a. I mean, but that's also strange to see. My son Luca and Sujay. I mean, they are both very good runners, and also the way that they can mentally pace themselves, mentally get into the mood. Uh, it's unbelievable. It's really
Mm.
unbelievable. So yeah,
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
level, I have full admiration for them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But so, you, what was your best performance in your favorite distance, 70.3, and what are you looking at for the full distance?
So oh, that's a tough question. Huh? That's a tough question. Huh? So if we talk about best performance, I think I was best in shape when I came back from India, and the few years later, I was able to win one race in my age group. That was Ironman Turkey back in 2019, I believe. Yeah, 2019.
Hmm.
And I think I spent like 4 hours 33, 34, something like that. I
Brilliant.
mean, which is, I mean, the timing in 70.3s are also dependent on the uh, on the race
Course.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that I think was my best one. I was able to go twice to a world championship on the 70.3. So together with Sujay, we went to South Africa. So
Hmm.
we did there the race in Port Elizabeth, which was 4:45 something. But I mean, it was more. I think what is most important when you participate and you can participate to such kind of races is to enjoy the fact that you can race.
Mm.
I think with every race, people on the amateur level. I mean, my wife always says you don't have to prove anything to anybody. I think that should be an adario for everybody. I mean, keep your mind in your body. I mean, stay focused on the race, but also do not forget to enjoy the fact that you are able to race, that you are fully healthy, and I mean, watch from time to time the environment as well, rather than just. I mean, going going fast and looking to the watch all the time and not fast enough. No, don't do that. Try to enjoy as much as possible on that level. I mean, on what is the goal for Hamburg was the other question which you were asking. I think Hamburg. I will make a race plan, that's for sure, but it will be a race plan which is a little bit depending on the pending.
Hmm.
So I think like the swimming that will be fine. Will be something more than 1 hour. Cycling should be, yeah, that's also, I mean, cycling will already be dependent on the weather conditions, will be dependent on the feeling I have. So One thing I promised myself not to do is to overarch. Try to go. I won't go for 40 kilometers an hour right there. No, 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 no. Like a little bit calmer and more, I think, towards 35, maybe that's possible. I don't know. I don't know.
Mm,
It depends on the feeling. And then certainly also for the running part, that will be easy running, certainly for the first 30K, and then we'll see where we end. So
yeah.
I don't have a big -10 or -11 or -12 dream. It depends a little bit on the day itself, and I mean, with a
It
certain
is.
age,
It is definitely something new for you. So it
yeah,
is. It's going to be, about getting to know how much you can, how you can pace and everything else with each of those legs, right? So
yeah, and,
yeah,
and and for sure also taking care of the food intake from the beginning till the end.
that that would be a
That,
big thing. Yeah.
that's something you have to care for from the beginning onwards. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I mean, just finishing the race will make me already happy. Uh, I mean, so many people in India who have done it, so it should be possible for me as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely possible for you. And I am sure it will be a very good time. But no pressure, like you said, it is important to enjoy the,
Enjoy
fact
the
that you
episode.
are able to race. Right.
Yeah,
Excellent,
exactly,
excellent.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic chat, Ronnie. To kind of conclude the session, what are some of the tips that you would give working athletes to do well at sport and work?
Oh, I think if I can share tips for my personal life, then always try to find a good balance between your working life and your life as an athlete. Work also talk with other people on how they organize, on how they do stuff. I mean, make yourself some clear goals. In a sense, are there any races that you want to do in the future? Are there any races you want to, any goals you want to accomplish? Because that will definitely help you in building up the training. Um, that's definitely true. Um, Also, do not overspend time on working, but do also not underspend time on working because you will not be paid as an athlete. That's something which I think is a clear message as well. Um, what else from yeah at a certain time point, this may be a story I can share as well. When I was training quite a lot in 2007, 2018, 2019, I was also working with a coach from the US, and I think I was getting stronger and stronger as an athlete.
Hmm.
But I was also getting in a mood where you are really addicted to the training itself, and it was looking like I found it more important to stick to the training program than anything else, and that of course is not good. I mean, you have to listen to your body and carefully manage the time you spend on training and the time you spend on getting your rest and recovering from the sport. So on that level, maybe that's also a warning. And it's also something I heard in the podcast with Sujay coming back. What is it worth that you are training for?
Yeah,
Because on one level, I mean, you do the sports because you want to feel good in your body, you want to feel healthy. But on the other hand, I mean, you can train 20 hours a week, but what will it bring for you at the end of the day? I mean, if you
yeah,
are, of course, a professional athlete, then it's a totally other kind of story. But if you are just, I mean, an amateur athlete, I mean, how much time can you put into the sport to be successful. But maybe there one alternative can be that you become a coach, like you are as well, because that can help you to make a living out of the sports as well. So I
Mm,
don't say that you don't have to, I mean, not live your dream if you want to do something into the sports, but doing the sports and making the money, that's always something, two different kind of things.
right. Yeah, definitely we have to look at, like you said, work is what pays for the fun that we want to have through sport. So it is
Exactly,
important that we, devote adequate time and energy for that as well, and not be consumed by the sport and the passion that we have for the sport. So
exactly.
it is a fine balancing act that we have to, understand where the money is coming from and what is feeding you, what is putting the bread and butter on the table, right? So that is
Mhm.
very important as well. uh,
Also the sports, and that is maybe something. It's something I did also quite a lot back in the years 2000s. So what we used to do, and I seen that Arvind Bhatia, the Dr. Arvind, has done as well with Moan this summer. I mean, and you, I think I did it as well. You traveled to Europe and you did like rides from, I mean, climbed several mountains. You climbed like Col d'Aspre, the Alpe d'Huez, Col de la Télégraphe, Mont Galibier, Edouard. I mean, all those mountains. I mean, of course, you don't have to participate in a competition to enjoy riding the bicycle. I think it's maybe even more funny to do a trip from one place to another, where you sleep every night in another place, that you make a journey towards a country, and enjoy the fact that you can cycle, enjoy the fact that you have the beautiful views, take a picture from time to time, share it on Facebook, because then everybody else will become jealous. Can you imagine? That's also, I mean, if there is an advice I can give to people as well, I mean, take time to do that as well, that kind of activities, because that can make you as happy as finishing and participating in a race. Um, I mean, we went with friends this weekend to a hotel here a little bit further, so to Malmedy. I mean, it was a beautiful ride of 130 kilometers to that place, and a nice ride back. So, also in India, I think we did at a certain time point with Nagaraj and Enaut a ride to Uti, from Bangalore to Mysore, Mysore, Uti,
to
and
Ooty.
beautiful,
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
What better way to explore a new place than from from a bicycle, right? So
Yeah,
like I said, a few teammates of mine, including Dr. Arvind Bateja, Shankar, Rajesh Nair, and all these guys went to destination in France, to actually during the time the Tour de France was going. they
yeah,
they got to climb all those climbs and watch the race a couple of days. I was supposed to join them, but unfortunately,
you had the shoulder.
yeah, the crash and all that did not help, so I had to stay back. But it is definitely something that we can do. It need not be a race and stuff. We can enjoy our time on the bike, see, go to new places, and definitely make memories of a lifetime.
Exactly. Yeah. One memory I still have also from India is the daily runs in Covent Park. So, to all the runners that are listening to the podcast, I miss it a little bit. With early morning runs in nice Covent Park. I think that is also still existing. I see a lot of pictures coming by on that level. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
definitely
I
that.
have. one day.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really looking forward to riding with you again. Possibly when you are here or when I make my way to Europe, someday, maybe next year or the year after, right?
Excellent. Yeah, we make an appointment of that. I'll
Definitely,
keep you
definitely.
informed. I will. I mean, certainly, yeah. At a good time when traveling is back to really normal, then definitely Linda and I will plan a visit to Bangalore and I mean see how much life and the city has been changed since we left. It was already, I mean, big to see the changes in 3 years. So now, I mean, 7 years later, I think changes will be even bigger. The
Lot
traffic
more,
is still a lot. Yeah,
lot more
a lot.
metro
Right.
construction, lot more traffic. So
Oh, okay. That is still the same.
that
And a
is.
lot more cyclists or not?
Lot more cyclists.
Oh, okay.
One offshoot of one silver lining from the pandemic that happened was
Yeah.
that lot more people got on the bikes. So
Okay.
it is the numbers have increased quite a bit. It is great to
But
see.
bicycle lanes on the roads is not yet.
No, I don't expect that here, but actually there are a few lanes in the heart of the city, which
Okay.
which are semi-usable,
Yeah,
but
it will come. It will come.
uh,
Another 10 years.
let us see. Fingers
Yeah, it
crossed.
will. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely will come.
Uh, Excellent. Thanks again for taking the time, Ronnie. It has been a fantastic chat. Really had fun. Thanks for taking the time and sharing your experience with the Working Athlete podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for calling me and having me on your show. And good luck with the next 100 episodes.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.